Hi guys, it's Paul here from Muscle Car UK and Pilgrim Motorsports. Yes, we've got another gorgeous little Mustang for you here today. It's a 1966 331 stroked engine, but that's not the whole history of the car. We bought it in California. It's literally just come off the boat last week with a few other cars that we've got in. This car was built in San Jose plant back in 1966, and it was sold into the San Diego district. And it has spent its whole life there. It's a black plate Californian car, which I'm sure many of you do understand that if it's got a black plate on it, and it means it hasn't been registered outside of that state. So it's always been kept nice and warm in San Diego for all its life. It was two owners up until recently. The one particular family had owned it for most of its life, up to about 1996. Then a friend of the family bought the car and had it for about 2 or 3 years, and then decided to sell it. And then the client that we bought the car off of bought it. So 3 owners from new. And he wanted something that was a really good solid car that he could spend the money and get it exactly as he wanted it. So he wanted to put a 5-speed gearbox in it. He wanted to upgrade the engine, upgrade suspension and things like this. And this is what this guy's done. So he's bought a car that's a good solid original C-code car. So it was original a V8 to start with, and he's put things on it. It was auto, but he decided to put the 5-speed gearbox in it and all the other extras. So let's have a quick look at this car. As you can see, it's in this gorgeous red, which does look stunning, with the black vinyl roof, which it had from new. So it's always had the roof. As you can see, it's in beautiful condition. I mean, the money that was spent by this company here, if I can point this out to you, you can catch this, JBA, we've left the sticker on here at the moment because we have got the file for the car, and it literally shows that the last owner spent $54,000 on this car. And that's without buying the car. That was a separate entity, so he would have obviously paid whatever for the car a few years ago in 2019, but he decided he wanted to spend it and get the spec exactly as he liked it. So he's gone through the car and he's done a very good job. You might be able to notice here on these lovely 17-inch American racing wheels. Underneath here you've got the disc brakes, which are all lovely. Not only has he done the front, he's done the back brakes as well. So this JBA have put front and rear disc brakes on the car, which obviously gives it that stopping power, which in fairness this little car does need, because it really has got a fabulous little engine in there. 331 strokes. We've got all the printouts to show you the brake horsepower, and it hits it quite comfortably, and I've driven it and it really does drive well. Yeah, the paintwork is in great shape, as you'd imagine. He wouldn't spend that sort of money on the car without it being a good solid car, but you can see down the side it's absolutely beautiful. The panels are really good and correct. The chrome's all good. He's had that all done as well by the looks of things. Just a very, very sound car. And but the good thing is he's left the interior quite original. It's all been renewed at some stage, but it hasn't been livened up too much inside. So let's have a look at the interior and we can see what's going on in there. Well, here we are inside. As I said, very original inside. It's got the sort of bucket seats with a bench seat at the back. It's all been restored at some point, you know, over the last few years, which is really nice. Center console. It's got the modern type radio, which is still vintage looking, so that's quite an expensive extra. It's also got the rally pack here, which is, you know, you've got your revs and your clock, which was something that was an extra in its day. Again, it's got a lovely T5 5-speed gearbox, so having that engine with the extra power, also having that long gearbox does help. So you can put it in 5th gear if you're doing motorway work, or you want to go off to France or whatever, and you're going to do some long distances. It's nice to have that modern type of gearbox, because they didn't make the 5-speed gearbox in the Mustang, so having one put in is absolutely a great upgrade, and something that you'll really enjoy driving. But no, it's really good throughout the whole car. It's literally just come in. It hasn't gone through our workshops yet. I mean, what we do is they go to the workshop, the 148-point check, whole car gets checked over to make sure that it is what it is, you know, and everything needs to be done, because obviously these cars are 55 years old. Even though they may have had a fortune spent on them, we still got to check them out to make sure the gauges are working and everything else, which stops you having any problems in the future. But yeah, let's have a good look at the engine. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing, because it does go like a rocket, this little car. So let's have a look underneath the bonnet. Right, let's have a look underneath here. Well, there you go. It's absolutely beautiful under here. It really is lovely. As you can see, the engine, when they rebuilt it, would have come out, and you can see literally it's all been painted in like a gloss paint, so it really will stand out at a show or something like that. Will be great. Obviously, it's got the Ford Racing air filter, rocker covers, 331 engine. As I said to you, it's a stroked engine. This is, you know, this is something that's very powerful. MSD ignition, which is great, and coil. The power steering. You've got your disc brakes here. Remember, it's rear disc and front disc on that, which is very rare. We don't often get that. It's an expensive extra that not many people do. But really lovely underneath this engine bay. It's got beautiful headers on it, going down to the exhaust, all done by JBA, all signed and printed with their signature. Just really is a stunning car, this. And once it's been through the workshop and back out the other side, I think this is going to be a fabulous buy for someone. Someone's really going to enjoy driving this, because this is a car that you can drive, I wouldn't say on a daily basis, because nobody tends to drive these cars on a daily basis, but if you wanted to really have some fun with this car, this would be an ideal car. You know, if you're going to go down to your place in Spain or France or something like that, and you want to leave a car down there, what a great car. It's had all the money spent on it. That's the bonus, and that's the bonus for us buying it, and hopefully for the next client who decides to own it. So let's take it down the road and see how it goes.
We'll just pull out of here and I'll tell you a little bit about this car. We're in a 66 Mustang Coupe, and this is about as Restomod as you can get in a Restomod. Interestingly, about 4 years ago I was in San Diego, and I just bought a very low mileage 68 coupe from a guy who was a collector of very low mileage cars, and delighted to have bought that. And he invited me the following day to a cars and coffee event at a speed shop in Chula Vista, it is actually, which is the last outpost before Tijuana in Southern California, on the following day, a Sunday morning. And I met him at 6 because the heat there is such at that time of year, we have to get things done early. Anyways, we had a very eventful morning at what turned out to be a fascinating speed shop by the name of JBA's, run by a guy similar age to myself, who with his sons had developed a really top flight speed shop where they were capable of producing really high-end engineering. And in fact, their engineering shop, they were rebuilding the motors from a couple of genuine Shelby Mustangs and Cobras while I was there, which was very interesting to me. And during the event, where there were literally hundreds of people in their cars, an old guy rolled up in a battered and original looking 65 428 Cobra, wearing a Vietnam vet's hat, which declared he to be a phantom pilot. I got chatting to him. He'd actually bought that Cobra brand new and hadn't done every mile in it ever since, and then only just recently had JBA's put the original 427, which Henry Ford II insisted that every Cobra owner who'd been given a 428 instead of a 427 should have. And indeed, he chatted to me about this for some time, but anyway, we digress. JBA's actually appeared on the windscreen of this car, and I came across the advert with the JBA showing on the centre of the windscreen, and it piqued my interest. So I made some inquiries about it, and it proved that the owner, who also lived in San Diego, had acquired a very nice example, as you can see, of a 66 coupe in bright red, and he'd given it to JBA's for a host of upgrades, and they actually supplied and fitted the stroker, the 331, possibly 332 from the data, cubic inch stroker, which is a very powerful unit indeed. It revs very freely. It's got Edelbrock aluminium performer heads, intake, and a 4-barrel carburettor up top. There's a Tremec 5-speed, which rather nicely, with a Hurst shifter, finished off with the black 8-ball pull ball as a gear knob. The interior of the car, this excepting the auto power broad section race safety harnesses, it's very standard. It has wood grain dashboard panels and glove box cover. Nice extra working rally pack. The tacho and the clock are working nicely. But everything else, apart from this little console here, which is clearly not original, is as it probably left the factory, and all in good and lovely order. But the money has been spent on the running gear, the brakes. This car is so tight on the road, it doesn't feel like a 66 Mustang, which you have to bear in mind now are well over 50 years old. The braking and handling characteristics of this car make it feel like a much more capable modern car than the old 66 Mustangs in standard format allow. And the performance is, it's hairy, it goes like stink, this car. But the beauty of it, with all-round disc brakes, it stops equally well. Power steering's been provided with an upgrade via the Borgeson power steering box. Very much more precise than the original floating control valve that so many early Fords had. So a great upgrade in that respect. But overall, the drive of the car is such that you don't feel like you're in an old car. The suspension, as I say, is very tight. Braking superb, performance electric, but it's very docile, can be driven at low speeds very easily, very tractable. It's benefit of a digital upgraded radio, which looks period correct, but works nicely in the original hole in the dash there, so no cutting of the dashboard to fit a modern unit. The exhaust obviously has been upgraded, there's headers on there, and the engine's finished off nicely with blue Ford Racing high-rise covers, obviously to accommodate the roller rockers that I expect are hidden below. Overall, just a very nice, exciting car to drive, but not making a statement externally like some of the Restomods we've had, which can look a little over the top, let's say that. But this just looks like a very sharp, very straight, beautifully painted original 66 coupe. The giveaway, I think, is the 16 or 17 inch Torque Thrust 2 alloy wheels, through which you can see the disc brakes, which are a slight clue to the additional performance this car has. But there we are, a great car, very, very pleased to have bought it. I actually bought it via a very, very good pal of mine, who actually ironically introduced me to JBAs. I met him at that meeting, and his eyes are very much in tune with mine, and we're able to buy cars whilst I can't get back to the States, and it's been a great pleasure dealing with Ron. So there we are. Okay guys, thank you very much indeed.